wrote a book. Jesus was a cowboy,
Country boy.
country boy. So he
Maybe he
wrote,
was a cowboy too.
Jesus was a country boy. What was it like writing the book? What did you want to share with people?
You know, it was a poor attempt with a really good, you know, there was a lot of good intentions behind it, like most things. But I think I was reaching out, you know, not really trying to preach, but to find answers, you know, in a world that, and I still feel this way, that there's so much ambiguity, you know, among Christians. I was baptized Catholic when I was born, but my mother and father divorced when I was 3. So I was raised Assembly of God, which I wouldn't trade for anything. Learned so much, you know, about the Bible. Continue to learn so much about the Bible through my mother, who's still Assembly of God. And you know, and I very much found Catholicism, you know, to be my religion of choice for, you know, too many reasons to unpack in one sitting here. But it was, even between my mother and myself, it was difficult, you know, to have religious conversation when she's the one who raised me and taught me everything that I knew about the Bible. There seemed to be such a big gap. The lenses were so different, you know, and I wrote this song called "Jesus Was a Country Boy," and it talks about my mom and dad, you know, in the song, and these preachers on TV and this and that. And one day I told my mom, I said, you know, I've never seen a priest drive off in a Cadillac. And I said, they take a vow of poverty, Mom. I said, that's kind of attractive to me. And I got her attention when I said that. I said, I am not trying to convert you. I said, I'm trying to tell you that people need both lenses. There's no reason for Christian brothers and sisters to be divided. And you know, I still believe that. And so what I was trying to do in that book was talk about my life, some of my beliefs, and the commonalities that we share as Christians. And I asked the question to some of my bandmates. One of the guys in our band is Catholic, my drummer, and the rest are Protestant and in different religions. Excuse me. You know, we even have some people who love Buddhism. I mean, we are very much a melting pot on our bus. And I said, no debate here. I said, but I just had this epiphany. Martin Luther left the church for good reason. It was very corrupt, you know, at the time. I said, I wonder if the Protestants since Martin Luther have ever wanted to look back over the fence and say, because this was my journey. My journey was, how do I find the root? Because I'm a gardener. You know, I plant trees, grow food. I plant vegetables, flowers, everything. And the root is what matters. Leaves can die, branches can be cut off, but you ever destroy the root, it's dead. It's dead. And the root of Christianity, no matter how anybody wants to slice it, is Catholicism. So I wanted to go back and examine that, and I took that walk. And, you know, am I sad about the corruption inside of the Catholic Church? Absolutely. It's an atrocity, scandal, ambiguity, false teaching, all kind of things, you know, that are going on. But the doctrine has never been changed. It's apostolic. And so, you know, I, you know, I think the book, Jesus Was a Country Boy, was a very poor, attempt to unite the people that I love and make them stronger. Hopefully I'll write a better book than that. I mean, that's the plan.
What's the strangest conversation you've ever had with God?
This one. By the way, you are killing me. You are so good. This blows my mind. But ask me the question again.
What's the strangest conversation you've ever had with God?
I once learned from a good friend of mine who may or may not be sitting at this table that even an honest statement to God, like I really don't feel like praying today, is a prayer. And I've had a few of those. And I think but probably the most strange conversation I had with God was in a deep, deep, deep meditation. I've only done it twice because it's very scary to be vulnerable and to lay it all out there. And I was going through a divorce, and I was in a really dark place, just a place that I've been in a long time, and I turned out all the lights in the back of the bus, and I was the only one on the bus, and shut the door, the windows, everything. I don't even know how many hours that I was in meditation. But every thought that would come into my head, and I'd never been taught how to meditate, but every time I would have a thought, I would kick it out of my thought space. And I was very broken, as most people are when they go into a divorce. And I was concerned about how I would ever receive communion again. Any of all these thoughts going through my head. I just started letting these thoughts, just kicking them out left and right until there was nothing but silence. And it was the scariest moment of my life too, because I was waiting on God's voice. And I wasn't going to be the one to create that. I wasn't going to create what he was saying. I was really going to listen, and I was trembling. I was literally scared. And I heard him say, "You failed." And that was a tough moment for me, because I knew I had. And he said, "You failed me, and you failed her. You were supposed to lead her to me." And then I heard him say the most beautiful thing that I ever heard in my life. He said, "But that's okay. I'll break her on the rock." And I knew what he meant. That's Jesus Christ. And then he released me. And I just, had all the tears you can imagine, but there was this flood of forgiveness, flood of mercy. And I knew that everyone, including our 2 daughters, was going to be okay. That was not only a strange conversation, but a beautiful one.
Mm. Do you have a favorite memory as a Catholic?
I've had some rough moments as a Catholic. There's a lot of anti-Catholicism out there. You probably know that. I don't wear it on my sleeve about being a Catholic because of that reason, probably. And I'm a public figure to some degree, and have fans, and some of them are Catholic, some of them aren't. I know that. But my favorite moment, maybe, as a Catholic, happened last week. My son, who just turned 13, we were invited over some friends' home to be guests. My friend's brother is a priest, and it was just our two families going to celebrate Mass. I've never done this inside a home, and that's the way it used to be done, in the early apostolic age, because they had to hide. They weren't out in the open with it. And I go to communion on my knees and on my tongue. It's the way I believe. That I can show the most reverence towards God. And my 13-year-old son, who just turned 13, was in communion in front of me, and he knelt down to receive communion, and he crossed his he crossed his arms, and he asked the priest to come down there, and he whispered to him, "I haven't been to confession." That was the coolest thing.
Mm.
Sorry about that, but coolest thing that I have led him to have a well-formed conscience. As a dad, that was like my most proud moment so far. And I know that there'll be other moments, but as a Catholic, I was like, he knows the difference between right and wrong. Not only that, he's deeply moved by Christ. And as a dad, you can't do it any better than that. Through all my failures, all those mistakes I've made, I did something right with him. And that, as a, unexplainable feeling, unless you've experienced it. It was great.